All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm sitting down with Brett from Trinity Financial. As always, great to have you. And today we're going to be talking about paychecks in retirement, because I'm assuming those paychecks will eventually stop, sadly.
Well, the working paychecks do,
Working paychecks will eventually stop. So how do you turn savings into a paycheck in a retirement?
So turning it into a paycheck's not the problem. Overcome the paradigm, the fear, the anxiety that people have of not having that consistent paycheck coming in is one of the is the hard thing to overcome. So we have to remember they're going to receive Social Security, so that's a forever, what they call protected income. Where we fill the gap if they don't have a pension is with the 401k, like we talked about last week. So turning that in, remember I mentioned last week that we have 3 different buckets. One is liquidity, and income, and growth. So the income bucket is determined by the expenses that we talked about before. How much does it cost you to live? That income can be derived from many different sources. So they can put it into a mutual fund portfolio and do what they call systematic withdrawals. Okay. So you're selling shares in essence every month to receive a paycheck. Okay. You can have taxes withheld beforehand, but that's what you're doing. And then depending on the type of funds you have, a lot of times the dividends are paid and reinvested on a quarterly basis. So it's quarterly they're reinvested, but you're receiving monthly on a systematic withdrawal. Another option that we use is either there's 2 forms of annuities. One is a fixed index annuity with just a fixed rate. So we just withdraw the interest. Principal's preserved, interest is received.
Got it.
You can also put money into a fixed index annuity with an income rider that can be set to start distributing money on a lifetime basis. So going way back 4 weeks ago when we talked about you don't want to outlive your money, that's what the fixed index annuity does with an income rider. So really there's 3 different ways to turn the investment into income depending on how much they have to have and the size of the assets that they have, how we can allocate that.
Absolutely. And I kind of want to talk about, how someone should create a strategy that provides, a steady income, right, but preserves assets for the future.
Right. So this topic comes into play, especially when they're husband-wife, because we have to make sure that we plan for both.
Absolutely.
And then we always ask the question is, if there's children, grandchildren, what do you want the legacy to be? Because some of the strategies that I discussed, mainly like the income benefit rider, it can deplete principal over a 16 to 20 year period. Again, without getting into the weeds on that one, but that is one of the downfalls of that strategy. So if their goal is to leave a legacy to their children or grandchildren, that may not be the best option. So the mutual fund with a systematic withdrawal, or the indexed annuity with just the interest rate coming off, or a fixed annuity with the interest coming off, may be better because both of those could preserve or at least allow the assets to increase.
Right. So what would you recommend, most people should focus on when planning for retirement?
How much do they have to have?
So
and again, I've said that so many times, and even with sitting people, we'll spend more time on the monthly expenses because that's the foundation of what they have to have. A lot of people, when they come in the first time, they'll say, I want to have $6,000 a month. And we say, why? I'm just using those numbers. Because that's what I was making. But the thing to remember is when you reach retirement or you transition from working into retirement, the whole income tax structure changes because of Social Security and things like that. So they may not have to have as much money gross as what they thought. So again, we focus a lot on the monthly income expenses, and we fill that with Social Security, pension, and the withdrawals.
Absolutely. So planning early, that makes a big difference.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you, Brett. That's all
You're
the time
welcome.
we do have for today. But if you want to, you can get in touch with Trinity Financial. That number right there on your screen is 815-288-5800, or you can just go to their website. But Brett, again, thank you so much for being here today, and we will be right back after the break.